Hey, strong women. This is Shabazz, your host of One Strong Woman. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Overcoming Depression with Dr. Joyce. God bless. I'm so glad that you accepted the invitation to sit down and talk to me about this serious topic that we're seeing right now. That it seems like it's an epidemic on depression. But tell us about yourself and why do you do what you do?
Okay. I'm a licensed psychologist and in the clinical field, and I work primarily with adults specializing in marriage and family counseling and mood disorders such as anxiety and depression.
Okay.
I think I do what I do because initially I wanted to study psychology because I wanted to understand myself. And the more that I delved into the subject, then I also realized that I had a gift for counseling. And so the two kind of came together.
Okay. So 8.7% of women have depression, and women are more likely than men to have depression, according to the NIMH and the World Health Organization. Why do you think this is the case?
Well, I think that women are more likely to report depression. So men have depression too, but they don't always report it.
Okay.
So men many times will mask their depression as anger because in our society, anger is seen in men as a strong emotion, wherein depression is considered a weakness. Okay. So in our society, it is more comfortable or acceptable for women to have depression than to see an angry woman.
Okay. But men, they have it, but it's just in outbursts of anger or just like when you say anger, like what is that for them?
Well, men have depression, but sometimes it's expressed as the emotion of anger. Okay, I often talk about something that's called an anger cake, wherein anger is like the icing on the cake, but you have all of these different layers in which other things are going on. So I think with men, anger is like the icing on the cake, and there's other things that's going on, like depression, anxiety, and things like that.
Okay, that's interesting.
But it's, you can see an angry man and you think you have one idea about it, but you see an angry woman and then she gets a different rap about it. So therefore, many times women will express depression and underneath their anger cake, it would be depression would be part of that.
Okay. What are some types of depression? Like, is there, when I've heard depression, I just always kind of assumed there was just one type. I mean, it's just depression, but are there different types of depression?
Yeah, there are different types of depression. There's the one that you're probably most familiar with, and it's called major depression. And major depression is a depressed mood that lasts for about 3 to 6 months. It can last longer. I've seen clients that have had it a longer period of time. And then there's also postpartum depression, which we used to call the baby blues that women experience after having a baby. There's also persistent depressive disorder. And this is where you probably know some people who are they never seem quite happy. But they're not really deep down depressed, but they never seem quite happy. And usually those people have been that way for most of their lives. There's also seasonal affective disorder. And this is when we move from summer to the fall and winter season where there's less sunlight. And you're probably familiar with bipolar disorder, which is a mood disorder where you have a phase of depression and you have a phase of mania.
Now, which on the scale of all of those, which one is maybe like really extreme, or is that a way to look at it? Should I not look at it? Look at it that way. Like, is there one that is really out there? Like if it's from 1 to 10. It's one worse than the other, or?
Well, it's kind of hard to categorize them in that way. But when we're looking at major depression and bipolar disorder, then we're looking at a mental illness. So if you would want to say which one is more severe, it would be like major depression and bipolar disorder. But all of them are serious in their own right.
Okay.
And
He
need
said
attention to.
major is from 3 to 6 months.
It could be, but it could be longer, because
Okay.
I know people that have been depressed for years with major depression because they're not responsive to medication.
Okay.
They're not responsive to therapy.
Okay.
And other things are going on.
Okay.
So it can last longer.
Okay. What causes depression? Like, maybe with the major one or the bipolar, like what is some things that trigger us? I mean, we're all capable of dealing with depression, right? Like, what are some things that causes that?
Well, when we talk about cause, then we're looking at a lot of things. Okay. So there could be, a person could have a serious illness. Okay. They could have a loss of a loved one. Okay. A person could lose a job.
Okay.
They could go through divorce. Okay. When we talk about women experience depression when there's pregnancy.
Right.
They may have a miscarriage. Okay. Or they may have postpartum that we talked about.
Right.
Isolation can do it. Okay. Discrimination on the job. Financial problems can cause it. A family history of depression. Okay. So there are lots of things that can, when women try to balance too many things like family, spouse, children, aging parents, job, social activities, those things can get overwhelming.
Okay.
So there's a long list of things that can trigger depression.
Okay. And what goes off in that person to cause the depression? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, because you named all that stuff. I can see maybe with illness or divorce. Is it a broken heart that triggers, and then it go? What triggers in the mind, in the spirit or soul?
Well, it's kind of complicated to answer it that way, but I would say that what happens is that a person does not always have the tools to deal with a crisis. And if a person doesn't have the tools or the skills or the support to deal with a crisis, then they're more likely to experience depression. Okay. So we would say that if you are surrounded by people that you know care about you and that you have had good role models for handling crises, then you may not experience a depressive episode. Or if you do, it may just be not very long. Okay. But a lot of those things go into how people are able to handle depression.
Okay. So it's brought on by the crisis, but the tools are not in place to deal with the
Many
crisis.
times they're
that
not.
Makes sense.
Okay. So let's look at people in the Bible that had depression.
Yeah.
Okay, Naomi had depression. Okay. Hannah had depression.
Okay.
Elijah had depression. Job had depression.
Wow.
Okay, so if you look at Naomi, she had a lot of losses. Okay, and she was in a foreign country. She didn't have a lot of support. She was away from the familiar. Okay. And if you would look at Hannah, there was something that she desired, and she was surrounded by support from her husband, but he really didn't understand what was going on with her.
Right.
Okay, so those are some things. Elijah, he had been very active, okay, and then he'd had like a really high experience, and then there was the low of isolation in which he found himself by himself. Okay, and so that was a trigger for him. Job, losses were innumerable. Okay, and then he was surrounded by friends, but they really didn't understand him. And the one member of his family that was left empathized with him, but she really didn't understand him. Okay, and so Job even said that, I will just curse the day that I was born. I wish I wasn't even here. Elijah said, Lord, it's enough for me. Just take me home. I don't want to be here anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
And Rachel said, to Jacob, give me children or I die. I can't live. So we have characters in the Bible that experience depression too.
Okay. That's good. That's good. What are some signs that someone be watching this and either they need to probably identify or they need to know, okay, am I depressed? Like, am I finding myself in a down, in a low place, or maybe they know a loved one that, what are some signs of depression?
Okay. One of the symptoms of depression is this feeling of hopelessness. Okay. It's like you don't see a future. You don't see your situation changing or getting any better. Okay. Another sign of depression can be disturbance of appetite. You can either stop, not eat as much, eat very little, or you can even start eating more. So there may be weight loss or there may be weight gain. Okay. There's also isolation when you withdraw from things. Maybe you're not on social media as much. You don't want to be around your friends as much. You're not talking to anyone. There's also the loss of pleasure. So you're not interested in doing things that were pleasurable, like being with your friends, going out, not wanting to have sex if you're married, not enjoying the same things that you used to enjoy. Those things that brought you pleasure and delight, that you're not interested in them anymore. There can also be confusion, disturbance in your thought, lots of negative thinking, suicidal thoughts, which is probably where we don't want to get to. Your body can even feel depression with aches and pains. Women often have tenderness in their breasts. You may have cramping and those kind of things. So there are lots of things that you can look for and be aware of. But if you find yourself having sad affect in which you're just really unhappy, then you need to start asking, is this something else other than me just being sad for a couple of days about something? If it begins to last for 2 or 3 weeks, then you want to look at something else that's going on.
Getting some help, or where would they start? Like if it's been that long,
the first thing that I would say that you start with, you really want to find out, can I figure out what's causing this? I love the story in the Bible where after Jesus had died and was crucified and then rose from the dead, and the 2 disciples were going to Emmaus, and they were depressed. They were very depressed, and they were disillusioned. They were disappointed, and all of those things are part of depression. And they were talking among themselves about what could have been, what it would have been like. And we thought this was going to happen, expectations that are not realized. And then Jesus came to them and said, what are you talking about that's making you so sad? So he said, what is the basis of your conversation? What is triggering these sad thoughts? And so you want to start at the place of, what is triggering this? A lot of times I deal with people, with clients, and they will say, well, I'm depressed and I don't know why. And I'm going like, well, what happened? What happened today? What happened yesterday? What happened in the past week? Or they will say, I started feeling depressed a year ago. And I'm going like, what happened a year ago? They'll say, I really can't think of anything. I said, let's think about it. What was going on in your life? And they usually 99% of the time, they can pinpoint something that happened. So there's something that usually triggers it. It's just not something that zaps you out of the blue. Usually there is a cause.
And you start
it.
there.
You start there. What just happened?
And then after you find out what happened, what do they do next? Like,
the next thing that you can do is that you can reach out to people around you. And you can ask for support, talk to somebody about it. The disciples talked to Jesus when he asked them what's going on with you. And they told him everything that was going on and exactly how they felt about it. Okay. So you can start talking with people that you trust, that people that you feel that would understand. You can start there. That may not be enough, however, but you can start there. And if that's not enough, then you can also seek counseling, And if that's not enough, you can add to that medication. Because a lot of times depression is triggered by hormones being out of sync. So you can add those. Support from those around you, counseling if needed, and medication also can be warranted.
Like how does one step outside, because being depressed or even having suicidal thoughts can be where you're isolated and maybe with shame with it, and some in this day and age it can be looked at as shunned upon, that you don't need to get help, especially in the African American culture. This thing about counseling, it's kind of it's shunned for some reason. I don't understand why. What do you do? What do they do to get past that? It's okay to get help. It's okay to even share those thoughts. In my own life, dealing with an illness years ago, I had those thoughts. And my own husband, I didn't tell my husband, I didn't tell friends. It came out in the light after, shortly after that. But I'm here with these thoughts, and my own husband didn't know, and I didn't share those, thoughts with him. How do you get past out of yourself, that person, to be able to even get there to share those intimate, dangerous thoughts?
I think that one of the things that you need to look at is this fear of being perceived as being crazy. That there's something wrong with me. I'm crazy. You're crazy. So I think that what Jesus did to the disciples, he normalized what was going on with them. Guys, you're not crazy. And he began to normalize what's going on with them. So I think that if we can just recognize that there are probably very few people on planet Earth who have not thought about what it would be like if I wasn't here, depending upon situations and circumstances that are happening, everybody has probably had a suicidal thought.
Really?
What we call suicidal ideation. Ask people around you, have you ever thought, if they would be honest with you, have you ever thought about not being here? That what it would be like if you, in the midst of your problems or crisis, is you just weren't here. They would probably, 99% probably would answer yes, because everybody has that thought from time to time. What it is, the other thing to recognize is this, and I think this is important. When you have suicidal ideation, it's not that you want to die, it's that you don't want the pain. It's that the pain is so great that I don't know how to get through the pain. So if you can separate that, then things come into a perspective. Because you're saying, I don't know what to do about this pain. And the only thing that I know that could possibly relieve me of this pain is dying. But is there another way to deal with the pain other than by death? And that kind of puts it into perspective.
Yeah, it does. It's really good, because that's true. It's like it's the suffering, and it's the pain is,
unbearable.
It's it's like Job. Hey, this I want to get out of here. Wow. Get past that. Separate the pain.
That I want to be pain free. But I don't want to die. So what is the other way to be pain free? Other than die? What are my options? And then you think about, who can I share this with? Who is it that I trust that I can share this with? And if there isn't a close friend or confidant or spouse or loved one, then seek a counselor. And there's also the suicide hotline, suicide helplines, that you can call and talk to somebody.
But don't feel like you just said it, like that mindset or that idea that I'm crazy. So you wouldn't, if you feel like that, you wouldn't share that.
You would not.
I love how you said Jesus normalized it, for them. Like you were really, Okay, what? Let's get to the source of it.
Yeah,
That's
when I
good.
think of Elijah, I don't think of a crazy man.
No, I don't either.
No, I don't. When I think
No,
of Job, I don't think
yeah.
of somebody who was crazy. Okay.
Okay.
But in the midst of crisis, unusual things happen to the people of God.
Okay.
Okay. And so we want to learn how to deal with our crises and the events that come into our life. The Bible said that in this world you will have tribulation. That's another word for crisis for me. In this world you will encounter a crisis.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
so we want to learn how to deal with our crises.
Okay. Yeah. In Proverbs 25:20, it says, whoever sings songs to a heavy heart is like one who takes off a garment on a cold day and like vinegar on soda. What did King Solomon mean by this?
Yeah, that's an unusual scripture, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
It's kind of strange.
Should you not sing to, what is that?
I think what it's saying there is that we're very used to platitudes. Okay, so it's like when in James it talks about the person who comes to you that's hungry and doesn't have clothes on, need proper clothing,
right?
And you say to them, "Oh, God bless you, go away, be clothed and fed," and you really don't give them what they need. Okay, so if you're singing a song to somebody and it's like taking off a garment on a cold day, you're not really giving them what they need. Okay, so we're very used to platitudes, anything to make you feel better quick. Right. It'll be all right. Don't worry about it. You're okay. You're strong. You can get through it. Yeah. Okay, but that really doesn't meet their need. Okay, when Jesus came, he met their need. He didn't say, fellas, you're going to be okay. Don't worry about it. It's all right, guys. Got this. He didn't say that. He said, tell me about it. He empathized with them. So he went to the point of their pain. Okay. And so when you do what that scripture says, then you're not going to the point of a person's pain. Okay. You're not meeting their need. So it's kind of like when Elkanah says to Hannah, am I not better than 10 sons?
Dude, you just took my. She just took her clothes.
Exactly. Wow. And she probably said, "Sorry, dude, not today." Surely not.
Okay.
But that's what I'm talking about. Okay. That when we do that, that we can be insensitive.
Okay. That's and we don't even know. We don't even know that I think we're doing our best to try to encourage that person. Yes. But like you say, it ends up hurting them. Then they're not. They're not getting what they need. So
I kind of like, there's a lot of talk about Job's friends and, they had a lot to learn. But one of the things that I do admire about them is that they came to Job and they initially had nothing to say and they just sat with him in his pain for a period of time. I forget how many days, but they just sat there. And so sometimes when we don't know what to say, we could say, well, I just want to be with you. I'll just be with you.
That's good.
We don't have to say anything. I'll just be with you. It's okay. If you want to talk, good. If you don't want to talk, it's okay.
Wow.
I'll just be with you.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good. So, how would you advise someone to help a friend or loved one who is dealing with depression?
Well, I would say be a good listener.
Okay.
And also to be realistic about what you can and cannot do. Your goal is not to fix the problem. Your goal is to help get the person to a place where they can fix it themselves. Okay. Know when you're in over your head. And if the person is suicidal, take it seriously and advise them to get help.
Okay. And if they don't want to get help,
then you talk to somebody around them to encourage them to get help. Because at that point, confidentiality is no longer an issue.
Okay.
And so when you listen, you want to listen to them in a non-judgmental, non-critical way. You just want to listen.
Right.
Less advice and more listening. Okay.
Okay.
They probably want to know that what they share with you would be confidential.
Yeah.
Okay, but if they talk suicide, then you need to let them know that I can't hold this confidential.
Right.
This is serious.
Okay.
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 Mm-hmm.
Any what resources would you recommend for those that need help with depression?
Okay, I would say that reach out to a support group, and not just through social media. I think one-on-one FaceTime with people is extremely important.
Okay.
Support your health. Do the things that we all know to do. Eat right, get proper exercise.
Yeah.
Practice relaxation techniques. I do this a lot for de-stressing. So learn a progressive relaxation.
Okay.
Those things really do help. Deep breathing. Those things help. Do the things that you enjoy. Try to get back into those.
Okay.
I said develop a wellness toolbox, and that is to write down some things. I tell people to put them in an envelope, each write down an item and put it in an envelope. And when you're not feeling that great, then pull out one of those things. And that could be like go for a walk. It could be take a long bath, go to the mall, read a book, call a friend that you haven't heard in a long time, paint a picture, color, just some things that, bake something and take it to a friend. Just some things that when you're this is at the beginning stages when you're not feeling that great.
Okay.
These are some things that might help to pull you out of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's good. Any final thoughts that you want to share on this topic?
Well, I think that I would say that, again, that you're not alone. There are lots of people that suffer from depression, lots of people that suffer from depression. And I just love the example of Jesus, that he says, it's okay, guys.
Yes.
And then after that, he explained to them what was going on. And so I think that an understanding, the Bible says, get understanding.
Yes.
With all you're getting, get understanding. And so there's a lot of confusion and misunderstanding about depression. So get understanding, understand your symptoms and what they mean and the next step to take.
Okay.
So understanding is extremely important.
Okay.
And the other thing is that people find a way out. They don't stay there. Elijah came out of the cave.
That's good. Yeah.
Naomi went back to Bethlehem.
Yeah.
Okay. So Hannah got her kid. So there is a way out.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you may be there for a while, but there is a way out. And the other thing to remember is that Jesus is always there. When Mary was in the garden and she was looking for Jesus and she was so depressed and wondering where she could find him, Jesus was right there. So Jesus is in the midst of all of our crises. He is always there.
That's good. That's good. What is your definition of a strong woman?
A strong woman is a weak woman who's learned to lean on the Lord.
I love that. That's it.
That's
It's simple.
That's it. Yes.
What is your superhero name, and what is one power that you have?
I think that this is kind of odd and unusual. And this superhero is not a religious person. She is actually from a movie.
Okay.
And I don't like everything about her, but this is one characteristic that I liked about her. And that's Scarlett O'Hara from Gone with the Wind.
Okay.
And Scarlett O'Hara was one of these women that she lived life fully, but sometimes she would go over the edge. Okay. But when she would feel overwhelmed, her favorite line was, or my favorite line that she had was, I'll think about it tomorrow. Okay. And I like that because sometimes we get depressed and overwhelmed because we're thinking about too many things.
Yeah.
Okay. There are too many things on our plate.
Yeah.
So Scarlett was saying that That's not for today. That's for another day. I will think about it today. It's tomorrow. It's like living life one day at a time. And so Jesus encouraged us. He said, why are you worried about this?
Yes.
Take care of things today. Don't worry about tomorrow. So I like that about Scarlett O'Hara.
That's
And
good.
I'll think about it tomorrow.
That's good.
Okay? Yeah.
The antidote to put on to put on the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness is that in the time of depression, you don't feel like praising and singing, but that's the Bible said that is an antidote for a spirit of heaviness. How would one do that?
I think that if you see praise as a part of who you are, okay? If you see worship as who I am.
Okay.
So that's a garment of that you have inside of you.
Okay.
It doesn't leave in a crisis, okay? You have to activate it, but it doesn't really leave if that's part of who you are.
Okay.
Okay? David said, I foresaw the Lord always before my face. He's at my right hand that I should not be moved.
Okay.
So no matter what I'm going through, it's always there.
Okay.
So if you have developed a life of praise, if you have developed a life of worship, it's always there.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So basically what you're doing is like, okay, I have all these garments. I have joy. I have worship. I have prayer. I have all of these things. They're in my closet. They're in my spiritual closet. They're all there. Okay, so today I will remember that praise is a garment that I have.
Okay.
Okay, and I will go into my spiritual closet.
Yes.
And I will take out praise.
Wow.
And that takes different forms. That doesn't mean that you're jumping up and down and shouting. Okay, it doesn't mean that. Okay, it just means that, God, I know that you're faithful.
Okay.
I praise you because I know that you're faithful. God, I know that you see me where I am.
Yes.
I thank you because you see me where I am.
That's good.
That's it.
It's not running around the church or
not at all.
If you want to do that, that's fine.
Yes.
But I loved how you just said it's a different form.
It's a different form.
Good. That's good. With Dr. Joyce, aka Dr. J, like I like to call you. Thank you so much for sitting down and talking about this.
You.
I really believe that women and men, whoever watch this, will be blessed and great resources for them. So thank you so much.
Thank you.